All right, y'all. So let's talk about Shanquella Robinson. So I'm going to read into the situation. I'm going to try to break down every person that I know of. I try not to do too much research on it because I want to remain unbiased. And I don't want anything to kind of influence me as I do this. I'll be honest and say that I do know that there was a fight involved. I do know that there was a trip that was made. I do know that after that, I think, some people moved. But that's kind of as much as I know. I did not actually see the video of the fight. I know that's also a thing, but I've never seen it. So now with that, let's begin. We're gonna start with Dejanay Jackson. The first question I asked was like, how did she feel about Shanquella? And I was getting like this sense of disgust, like I was feeling jealous, I was feeling envious. Then I asked the question of like, how was their friendship or their relationship with each other? And I kind of almost got this sense of like, I do feel like that they had arguments prior to this. I feel like from Dejanay perspectives, it almost seemed like within arguments or within our conflict or our friendship, that she was always trying to one up Shanquella is kind of how it felt. It almost gave me this sensation of she always wanted to be superior or she always wanted to be right. And this also, it just stemmed like from her insecurities within herself in regards to Shanquella. And it's also kind of funny because I asked like, was that always, their connection with each other? And I feel like initially when they first met, it wasn't like that. Even some time after that, where I kind of felt like we were cool. I don't feel like we shared a lot with each other, but I do feel like we were cool. But I feel like over time, Dejanay just began to really not like her, or she became more jealous of her. And I kept getting this feeling that there was a guy involved from Dejanay perspective. It almost feels like Shanquella. I don't know if there was a guy talking to her, trying to talk to her, or what it was, but it just seems like there was that kind of incident where there was like a third party thing going on. And I do believe Dejanay, from her perspective, she internalized that as, Shanquella trying to steal this dude that she may have been interested in, or she didn't like the attention that Shanquella would get. She was jealous of that attention, or whatever the case may be. But I do believe that that kind of fed deeper into her jealousy and her enviousness. But I do want to say that that was something that she's never talked about and she's never openly expressed to Shanquella or anybody. I kind of get a sensation of. And I have to go with my gut on this one. I kind of asked the question of like, was this pre-planned? I get the sensation of no, this was not pre-planned. The sensation of I felt the dislike was still there on Dejanay's part, but yeah, this wasn't something that we sat down and actually talked about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. This feels like something that was just like in the moment, but I do feel like the fight had happened. There were many reasons behind why Dejanay wanted to fight her. It wasn't just one. And I do feel like Shanquella, on the other hand, was a little confused as to why we were fighting because it doesn't feel like it was that big of a deal to her. And for some reason, I asked, like, what happened during the fight? I had the sensation of, like, I feel like I'm falling over. And for some reason, I kind of feel like I do have an injury. That's kind of like where I can get injured is kind of how it feels, or like a distinct injury. But then it also kind of feels like someone was, like, on the sidelines. And I feel like someone might have, like, got their little two hits in is what it feels like, too. Like, I feel like Dejanay was not the only person to hit her.